Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for standing by for NIO Incorporated's third quarter 2023 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are in listen-only mode. Today's conference call is being recorded. I will now turn the call over to your host, Mr. Ray Chen, Head of Investor Relations of the company. Please go ahead, Ray.
Good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome to NIO's third quarter 2023 earnings conference call. The company's financial and operating results were published in the press release earlier today and are posted on the company's IR website. On today's call, we have Mr. William Li, Founder, Chairman, and CEO, Ms. Stephen Feng, our CFO, and Ms. Danny Chu, Senior VP of Finance. Before we continue, please be kindly reminded that today's discussion will contain forward-looking statements made under the safe harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. As such, the company's actual results may be materially different from the views expressed today. Further information regarding risks and uncertainties is included in certain filings of the company with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the Stock Exchange of Hong Kong Limited, and the Singapore Exchange Securities Trading Limited. The company does not assume any obligation to update any forward-looking statements except as required under applicable law. Please also note that NIO's earnings press release and this conference call include discussions of unaudited GAAP financial information, as well as unaudited non-GAAP financial measures. Please refer to NIO's press release, which contains a reconciliation of the unaudited non-GAAP measures to comparable GAAP measures. With that, I will now turn the call over to our CEO, Mr. William Li. William, please go ahead.
大家好，非常感谢各位参加蔚来2023年第三季度业绩沟通会议。
Hello everyone, thank you for joining NIO's 2023 Q3 earnings call.
2023年第三季度得益于蔚来产品组合的完善，整体销能的提升，销售服务和补能网络的持续扩展，蔚来共计交付55432辆高端智能电动汽车。同比增长 75.4%。 根据中汽中心零售数据，第三季度蔚来在中国成交价30万以上的电动汽车市场排名第一，市场份额超过 45%。
In the third quarter of 2023, by making the most of a complete product lineup on the NT2 platform, the improvement of overall sales capacity and capability, as well as the continuous expansion of sales, service, and power networks, NIO delivered a total of 55,432 premium smart electric vehicles, up 75.4% year-over-year. The retail stat from Qatar showed that in Q3, NIO ranked first in China's BEV segment with an average transaction price of over RMB 300,000, with market share above 45% in the segment.
蔚来于9月发布和交付了全新升级的中型轿跑 SUV EC6， 完成了基于 NT2 平台全系产品的代际切换，8款产品全面进入高端纯电市场。第四季度，智能电动汽车市场的价格竞争进一步加剧，蔚来在保持价格稳定的前提下，2023年10月到11月。共计交付32033辆新车，同比增长 32.2%。 2023年第四季度，我们预计总交付量为 4.7 万到 4.9 万辆。
In September, NIO launched and delivered the all-new EC6, a mid-size coupe SUV upgraded to the second generation. It also marked the completion of NIO's product lineup on the NT 2.0 platform. In Q4, as price war deepens and competition gets tighter for smart EVs, NIO delivered a total of 32,033 vehicles in October and November, up 32.2% from last year, while maintaining our prices stable. In Q4, the total deliveries are expected to be between 47,000 to 49,000.
公司将专注于销售策略的执行和运营效率的提升。我们相信，未来 NT2 平台车型的产品竞争力将在明年进一步释放。
Going forward, we will stay focused on executing sales strategies and improving operational efficiency. We believe the competitiveness of NIO's second-generation products will be further unleashed next year.
财务表现方面，受益于高售价车型占比提升、零部件成本下降、交付量增长带来的规模效应，结合销售政策的精细化管理，整车毛利率提升至 11%。
In terms of NIO's financial performance, attributed to the increased sales mix for higher-priced models, decreased parts costs, and improved economies of scale enabled by more deliveries, combined with the refined management of sales policies, the vehicle margin in the third quarter reached 11%.
接下来我跟大家交流一下公司产品研发和运营方面的进展。
Next, I would like to share with you the recent highlights of our products, R&D, and operations.
9月21日，蔚来举办创新科技日 NIO Inc， 首次全面呈现蔚来12大技术全站，覆盖智能电动汽车业务全景，支撑蔚来多品牌、多平台的业务发展，并发布中国首个整车全域操作系统天枢 SkyOS 和自研的激光雷达主控芯片杨戬，体现了蔚来行业领先的体系化研发能力。
On September 21st, NIO held NIO Inc, NIO's Innovation and Technology Day. At the event, NIO's 12 full-stack technology capabilities covering the holistic business scenarios for smart EVs from multiple brands and platforms were introduced to the public for the first time. In the meantime, NIO also unveiled China's first vehicle operating system, SkyOS, and the in-house developed LiDAR SoC named Yangjian, demonstrating NIO's systematic R&D capabilities leading the industry.
智能驾驶方面，蔚来持续进行系统能力的快速迭代。11月15日，我们推出了高速服务区领航换电功能 PSP 的 beta， 目前全国累计29座高速换电站已经支持 PSP。PSP 无缝连接 NOP Plus， 并且深度融合蔚来换电体验，实现了高速换电场景的全流程自动化和全程的领航体验。
Regarding assisted and intelligent driving, NIO has been quickly iterating the system capabilities. On November 15th, Power Swap Pilot for Highway Beta was released in China. So far, 29 Power Swap stations on highways already support this feature. PSP seamlessly combines NOP Plus and Power Swap, bringing new users a hassle-free highway driving and battery swapping experience that is automated and intelligent from end to end.
同时，增强领航辅助 NOP Plus 曾高速进入城区，为用户提供全域通行的点到点智能驾驶体验。我们基于通用泛化能力，以用户领航心愿单的热力为参考，按路线开通、路线共享、会线成网的方式，于11月开启城区增强领航辅助 NOP Plus 的功能体验。目前，蔚来已经在部分主要城市对先锋用户开放了全域领航辅助 NOP Plus 的使用，城区路线覆盖和触达城市的数量在快速增加，已经大大超过了创新科技日提出的目标。我们将在近期的智能驾驶沟通会上和大家分享更多相关信息和计划。
In the meantime, NIO has rolled out the NOP Plus for urban traffic, providing users with uninterrupted driving experience from point A to point B, both on highways and on city streets. Enabled by NIO's generalization capability in-house and taking into consideration the high demand routes on users' wish lists, we've started to roll out NOP Plus for cities, route by route from November, and will gradually realize wider coverage. At present, the NOP Plus has been released to early bird users in several major cities and is quickly becoming available for more routes and in more cities, which has far surpassed the target announced at NIO Inc. At our upcoming NAD communication event, we will be sharing more information about that.
销售和服务网络方面，截至目前，包括快闪店在内，我们开设了468家蔚来中心和蔚来空间，覆盖152个城市， 拥有314家服务中心和62家交付中心，覆盖217个城市。
In terms of the sales and service network, so far we have 468 NIO House, NIO Space, and pop-up stores in 152 cities, as well as 314 service centers and 62 delivery centers in 217 cities.
充换电网络方面，截至目前，我们全球已经累计布局2226座换电站，超过9400根超充桩和11000根目的地充电桩。与此同时，我们的充电地图在全球接入第三方充电桩超过146万根。
As for the charging and swapping network, to date, we have installed 2,226 power swap stations, over 9,400 power chargers, and over 11,000 destination chargers worldwide. More than 1.46 million public chargers have been connected with NIO's charging map.
未来换电体系已经过多年的验证，为未来用户提供了超过3200万次便捷、高效、安全的换电补能服务，成为未来用户最信赖的补能方式。未来能源云与未来换电网络开始向行业开放。11月，未来与长安汽车、吉利控股分别签署了换电合作协议。未来将与更多的行业伙伴一起，在换电电池标准、换电网络、换电车型研发、电池资产管理等领域展开合作，为更多的智能电动汽车用户提供可充、可换、可升级的家电体验，共同推动换电模式的发展和普及。
NIO's long-tested and well-proven battery swapping system has offered over 32 million convenient, efficient, and safe battery swaps to NIO users, making Power Swap the most trusted recharging solution for them. NIO Power Cloud and NIO's Power Swap network have been opened to the entire industry. In November, NIO partnered with Chang'an Automobile and Geely Holding respectively on battery swapping. In the future, NIO will join hands with more industry partners in such areas as formulation of swappable battery standards, battery swap network, R&D of battery swapping vehicles, and the management of battery assets, so as to provide the holistic, chargeable, swappable, and upgradable solution to more smart EV users, and jointly contribute to the development and wider adoption of battery swap.
未来与用户1年1度的盛会 NIO Day 将于2023年12月23日在西安举办。我们将于 NIO Day 发布一款全新的旗舰车型，这款车是未来技术创新的结晶之作，将成为全球智能电动汽车的技术标杆，引领智能电动汽车技术的发展趋势。
NIO Day, NIO's grand annual gatherings with users, will be held on December 23rd in Xi'an, Shanxi Province. This year, we will unveil a brand new flagship model, a real epitome of NIO's innovative technologies. This project will become a technology benchmark for smart EVs and a trendsetter of the smart EV technologies worldwide.
9月26日，未来凭借电动汽车换电关键技术，构建低碳可持续的产业新生态，获得了2023年保尔森可持续发展奖的绿色创新类别年度大奖。该年度大奖是对未来换电技术和业务模式的创新性、可复制性、经济和环境双重效益的认可。
On September 26th, with contributions to shaping a low-carbon industry with innovative EV battery swapping, NIO received the Green Innovation Award of the 2023 Paulson Prize for Sustainability. This award is a recognition of the novelty and expandabilities, as well as the economic and environmental benefits of NIO's battery swapping technology and business model.
11月8日，2023未来杯中国大学生方程式系列赛事在合肥正式开启，并于11月12日圆满收官。自2015年起，未来连续9年深度支持中国大学生方程式系列赛事，至今该赛事已累计为中国汽车产业输送人才超过4万名，成为了中国汽车工业人才的重要摇篮之一。
The 2023 NIO Cup Formula Student China, a racing car design competition for college students, was held from November 8th to November 12th in Hefei. NIO has been sponsoring and supporting the competition since 2015. So far, Formula Student China has cultivated more than 40,000 young professionals for China's automotive industry, becoming one of the most important cradles of young automotive talent in China.
未来2年将是汽车行业变革期竞争最激烈的阶段。面对外部环境巨大的不确定性，我们近期梳理和调整了公司的关键目标、优先事项、行动计划，专注于高效执行和体系能力提升，在确保核心关键技术持续投入、销售服务能力的能够应对激烈的市场竞争，3个品牌9款核心产品如期上市的前提下，我们将持续变革内部工作流程与分工，聚焦于能够提升公司财务表现的项目投入，全面提升组织效率和资源使用效率。我们对未来在智能电动汽车领域的长期竞争力充满信心。
The next 2 years will see the most intense competition during the transformation of the automotive industry. Faced with massive uncertainty in the external environment, recently we've sorted through and adjusted our key objectives, priorities, and action plans to become more focused on efficient execution and improvement of system capabilities, while ensuring long-term investment in core technologies, strong sales and service capabilities to navigate the intense market competition, and on-time release of the 9 core products from the 3 brands. We will continuously optimize internal working processes and the division of roles and responsibilities, stay focused on projects that can contribute to the company's financial performance, and comprehensively improve organizational efficiency and resource utilization. We are very confident of NIO's long-term competitiveness in the smart EV industry.
感谢大家的支持。现在 Steven 将为大家介绍2023年第3季度的财务业绩。有请 Steven。
As always, thank you for your support. With that, I will now turn the call over to Steven to provide the financial details for the third quarter. Over to you, Steven.
Thank you, William. I will now go over our key financial results for the third quarter of 2023. And to be mindful of the length of this call, I will reference to RMB only in my discussion today. I encourage listeners to refer to our earnings press release, which is posted online for additional details. Our total revenues in the third quarter were 19.1 billion RMB, representing an increase of 46.6% year-over-year, and an increase of 117.4% quarter-over-quarter. Our total revenues are made of 2 parts: vehicle sales and other sales. Vehicle sales in the third quarter were 17.4 billion RMB, representing an increase of 45.9% year-over-year and 142.3% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in vehicle sales year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter was mainly attributable to higher vehicle deliveries. Other sales in the third quarter were 1.7 billion RMB, representing an increase of 55% year-over-year, an increase of 4.5% quarter-over-quarter. Gross margin in the third quarter of 2023 was 8%, compared with 13.3% in the third quarter of 2022 and 1% in the second quarter of 2023. The changes of gross margin year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter was mainly attributable to the changes of vehicle margin. More specifically, vehicle margin in the third quarter was 11%, compared with 16.4% in the third quarter of 2022 and 6.2% in the second quarter of 2023. The decrease in vehicle margin year-over-year was mainly attributable to changes in product mix, partially offset by the decreased battery cost per unit. The increase in vehicle margin quarter-over-quarter was mainly due to changes in product mix as well as decreased promotion. R&D expenses in the third quarter were 3 billion RMB, representing an increase of 3.2% year-over-year and a decrease of 9.1% quarter-over-quarter. The slight increase in research and development expenses year-over-year was mainly attributable to increased personnel costs in research and development functions partially offset by the decreased design and development costs and deduction of expenses due to support for technology advancement provided by local government authorities during the third quarter of 2023. The decrease in research and development R&D expenses quarter-over-quarter was mainly due to the support for technology advancement provided by local government authorities during the third quarter of 2023. SG&A expenses in the third quarter were 3.6 billion RMB, representing an increase of 33.1% year-over-year, and an increase of 26.3% quarter-over-quarter. Loss from operations in the third quarter was 4.8 billion RMB, representing an increase of 25.2% year-over-year, and a decrease of 20.3% quarter-over-quarter. Net loss in the third quarter was 4.6 billion RMB, representing an increase of 10.8% year-over-year, and a decrease of 24.8% quarter-over-quarter. Our balance of cash and cash equivalents, restricted cash, short-term investment, and long-term time deposits was 45.2 billion RMB as of September 30th, 2023. Now, this concludes our prepared remarks. I will now turn the call over to the operator to facilitate our Q&A session.
Thank you. If you wish to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone and wait for your name to be announced. If you wish to cancel your request, please press star 2. If you are on a speakerphone, please pick up your handset to ask your question. For the benefit of all participants on today's call, please limit yourself to 2 questions, and if you have additional questions, you can re-enter the queue. Our first question comes from Tim Zhao with Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much for taking my questions. I actually have 2 parts of the questions. The first one is about the battery swapping, because NIO, as just mentioned, further expanded its strategic alliance in battery swapping from previous partner like Sinopec to Changan and Geely. Could you share a little bit more about your plans of how to structure the new alliance of battery swapping and the potential financial impact, like your capex and operating loss? So in the long term, will you consider to spin off the battery swapping business and operate it independently, or even go public as a standalone third-party battery swapping or utility operator? So that's my first question.
好，谢谢 Tim。对，我们这个最近也 announce 了我们和长安和吉利的一个换电的战略的一个合作。当然从这个 NIO 的角度来讲，看这个 swap station network， 我们一直认为它和这个 cloud service 的这个 infrastructure 是非常像的，就是都是网络效应非常强，都有一个长期的一个投资建设。那同时的话呢，都是要先自己这个充分的验证和这个被证明它是符合这个用户的需求的，然后再开始对外开放。所以经过5年多的实际的运营，我们认为我们现在是可以对外进行这样一个开放，我们能力已经具备这样一个开放的能力。
Thank you, Tim, for your question. Yes, recently we have announced the cooperation agreements with both Changan and Geely on the battery swapping. And in terms of the battery swap network, the way we look at it is a bit similar to the cloud service or the cloud infrastructure. Both power swap stations and the cloud infrastructure require and rely on the network effect. Both can have a pretty long investment cycles, and both are actually started with the internal services first, and after sufficient validations and verifying the demands and the fulfillments for our users' needs, we will then open up the service to the public. So after 5 years of validation and internal services, we believe that we are ready to provide such network and service to the industry, and it's about time to open up the network to the industry.
当然这个在说到换电的时候，我们一直说它有非常多的优势，当然是更快，用户的体验更好。那么对用户来说和社会效益来说都有非常多的优势。我们需要大家注意的就是中国的这个城市的用户，绝大部分的城市用户他是居住在这个公寓里边。所以很多的用户一半以上的用户事实上是很难有条件去安装这个充电桩的。所以对于中国的用户来讲，这个换电是一个体验最好的一点需求。我把这个 background 跟大家讲一下，特别是对于 massive market 的用户，这一点尤其重要，因为 NIO 的用户相对来说还高端一些，所以家庭装的安装条件还好一点。但如果对于 massive market 的用户，这个其实是这个能够家里面安装充电桩的比例是更低的，所以这就是为什么我们决定把这个我们的第二品牌就是 massive market 的这个 brand 的这个standard 的这个 package 的 standard 的这个电池包开放给大家以后，我们看到了中国的这些汽车企业都非常的积极我们已经有2家宣布了这个签约，那还有几家在谈判的过程中。那所以我们相信我们的这样一个服务的能力、技术的水平、基础的网络的建设都是他们需要的他们也是从用户的利益的角度来讲，看到了这个服务的优势。
And as we all know that there are quite a lot of benefits with power swap, it is faster than charging and also it has better user experience. It also brings values and benefits to users and also the society. Especially in China, many users living in the urban environments or compound and apartments do not have a home charger. In fact, actually, more than 50% of our users cannot install a chargers at home. In this case, battery swap becomes even more important and convenient for those users who do not have home chargers. This is also very important for the mass market brand because NIO is, after all, a premium brand, and many of our users can still have a chargers at home. But for the mass market brand, the percentage of not being able to having the home chargers will be higher. That's why when we started to share our battery design standards and also specifications for the mass market brand to the industry peers, many of them are very interested in this alliance. We have already announced 2 agreements, and there are several more that are still in negotiation, as they also believe that with NIO's current battery swap technologies, service standards, and also service network, this is what they need for their products as well as for their users.
但我们相信换电的 business 长期来说肯定是一个可以持续，也有非常好的盈利能力的这样一个 business。这个我们是经过我们实际的运营，我们已经充分的相信这一点。当然 NIO Power 的话，在投资方面 ，capex 投资方面，确实如果进行投资的进行进一步的网络的建设，当然是需要这样一些capex 的这个投资。那我们也在用各种方式在对外去开展一些合作最近有一些这个合作伙伴跟我们已经开展了这样的一些合作，他们去建设换电站，交给我们来运营，按照购买我们的换电站的这个产品他们去持有这个换电站，然后进入到我们的网络里面，交给我们来运营。我们已经有几十个换电站，这个采用了这样一个合作的方式。将来这个也会是我们很持续的一个对外合作的方式，也就是我们的换电站的资产，这个由第三方来持有的这样一个模式。那当然 NIO Power 本身来说，我们的充电业务已经基本上 break even 了，因为我们80%多的这个电量都是由 NIO 以外的这个用户品牌的用户来使用的。那我们相信长期来讲的话呢，这个swap service 也是能够盈利的。那在有些区域我们已经看到了这样的一个盈利的事实那当然也有一些投资者对于 NIO Power 分拆融资感兴趣，也有一些初步的一些接触。当然今天我们还没有更多的 information 可以跟大家说，但是我们不排除这样的可能性。
And also, in terms of the business model for the power swap, we believe that it is sustainable both from the business perspective as well as from the finance perspective. Especially after 5 years of operations and validation, we have confidence in the sustainability of battery swap. In terms of our battery swap network, as we will continue to expand our power swap network, there will be capex also relevant to such network development. But in the meantime, we are also looking for approaches where we may introduce partners into our power swap network. Basically, they will buy the battery swap station as a product from us, and then they will install the stations and hand it over to us for the operations. In this case, they will be holding this battery assets for us. There are 1,000 of stations already running based on this business model. So for the longer term, we will also be looking for partners holding the battery swap station assets. In terms of the NIO Power's charging service itself is already almost breaking even. As you may know that 80% of our power was charged for the non-NIO users. So for the longer term, NIO Power charging will also be a profitable business. Actually, in certain areas and with certain charging stations, the operations with certain swap stations, the operations is already profitable. This is also in terms of spinning off the power swap stations. There are some investors showing their interest into having power swap or power swap business as a independent business. We're also in conversation with them.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Tim. Your next question?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Ellen, for sharing all the details. So my next question is about the car manufacturing, because as you just mentioned, NIO announced to acquire the production facility from JAC. So first, does that mean NIO has been granted the manufacturing license? In the meantime, I think that means NIO officially shifted from the asset-light business model to asset-heavy. So in the near term, how should we think about the unit cost of vehicle manufacturing from fourth quarter onwards? So I think previously we provided vehicle margin guidance for 15% for December quarter. And in the long term, do you still think that the full stack in-house development, production, and direct vehicle sales without relying on dealers would be the most ideal model for both NIO and Albus, the mass market brand, or if there will be any major difference? That's my second question. Thank you.
Stephen will answer this question.
Okay, so let me start with your question about this manufacturing, car manufacturing. During this acquisition, the manufacturing agreements between NIO and JAC are still performed as stipulated. And the production activities of the models in the corporation are going on normally. Going forward, if there is any change to the manufacturing corporation with regards to the rest models between NIO and JAC or other situation that constitute significant information after this acquisition or in the future, NIO will communicate with and disclose the capital market in a timely manner, complying with the red laws and regulations and the rules for listed companies.
对，我补充一下，就是如果我们这个完全由自己来制造的话，那么我们的制造成本大体上会下降 10%。
And also to add on to Stephen's comment, if we bring the entire manufacturing fully in-house, overall speaking, our manufacturing cost will be reduced by around 10%.
Great. Thank you very much, William and Stephen, for all the details. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Our next question comes from Nick Lay with JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
好，威廉跟凤伟跟管理层大家好。我有2个比较简单的问题。第一个是刚威廉有提到说，我们最近有一些就是目标的调整，增加组织的这个效率。可不可以在这一部分可以再跟我们就深聊一下，我们这哪些是觉得是比较中长期是需要 focus 的目标？那哪些目标是可以往后就是现在没有这么 urgent 可以往后推迟？My first simple question is really about NIO's plan to increase or enhance operation efficiency and reallocate our resource to more important priorities. So if management can give us some example and elaborate a bit more on this initiative.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick. 总的来说的话呢，我们的一个原则吧，当然首先我们经过这几年的发展，我们确实内部组织的话有一些低效的和重复建设的这样的一些情况啊，所以我们这次首先还是有一些合并了一些重复建设的一些部门与岗位，有一些比较低效的一些内部工作流程和分工啊，那我们也做了一些变革，还有一些比较低效的岗位。具体在项目上来讲的话呢，就是我们有一个比较基础的原则，就是3年内不能提升公司财务表现的项目投入，比如说不能提升毛利，或者不能提升这个 P&L 的这样的一些表现的这样的一些项目，我们都削减或者推迟啊。举一个例子来讲，比如说电池的自制啊，那我们评估下来的话，我们认为我们在电池的自制方面，就自己生产电池这件事情上，我们看不到3年内能改善我们的毛利率，所以我们就选择了另外的一些方法，我们还会研发这个电芯，还会研发这个材料，还会研发这个 pack， 但是我们会委托别人生产，用这种方式来降本啊。举这么一个例子啊，我们其实这些调整呢都是非常细致的去基于业务的发展的这样的一个规律和公司的资源，去非常细致的进行这样的一些调整。
In this round of organizational optimizations, we have identified several principles because over the years of development, we have some low efficiency positions and jobs and also some duplicated roles and responsibilities. In this case, we have identified these low efficiencies or redundancies in the organization. We've improved the processes of lower efficiencies, and we've also eliminated jobs and positions that are duplicated or are of low efficiencies. And also in terms of the projects deferred or terminated, basically we look at the projects and their financial contribution. If they cannot bring any financial contribution in the coming 3 years, we will be thinking about deferring them or terminating them. For example, if they cannot contribute to the gross margin or the P&L, they may need to be deferred or reconsidered. A quick example is regarding the in-house manufacturing of our batteries. We've identified that in the coming 3 years, bringing battery production in-house will not help us with the gross margin improvement. In this case, we have decided to defer the plan. We will still continue to do the in-house R&D of battery cells, battery materials, and the battery packs, but we will outsource the manufacturing of the battery packs for better overall efficiency and performance. So for this round of optimization, we've done a detailed and thorough review and adjustments, and also made necessary adjustments based on the needs of the business and the resources of the entire company.
当然我们的3个高优先级的事情，我们认为在将来的2年里面，我们还是会坚持的。就是第一个就是我们的核心关键技术的一些长期投入啊，那确保我们在技术和产品的领先优势。我前面也讲到了，我们在今年的 NIO Day 上会发布一款全新的旗舰车型，那这上面有很多的这些技术我相信都是全球领先的。我们会继续保持这样的一个技术的领先优势。但第2个高优先级的事情就是我们的销售和服务的网络。那我们呢已经增加了销售人员，已经增加了一些销售的网点。当然这些销能要变成销量还需要一些时间。当然如果我们也看到在现在这么激烈的竞争里边，如果我们不去扩展我们的销售网络，那么这个对于我们应对市场竞争来说是不足够的。我们在上海在今年的10月份，我们的30万以上的这个销量，我们已经超过了这个宝马、奔驰。那不管是什么样的动力形式啊，我们其实已经比它超出了不少了。 那我们在江苏、浙江这样的消费意识比较领先的一些城市，我们的 market share 还是提升的非常快的。但是我们也看到了更多的4、5线的城市，或者说电动车的基础设施还不太发达的地方，我们确实还有非常的路要走啊。我们和奔驰和宝马的这种销量的差距还是非常巨大的，所以我们会继续扩展销售和服务网络，这个给我们后续的持续的销量提升去增加机会。所以我想强调的一点就是，我们现在江苏、浙江、上海3个地方占我们全国的销量的比例超过了50%多。这当然一方面说明我们的产品在竞争激烈的市场能得到认可，另外一方面也是一个问题，说明我们还有非常大的这个任务要去建立我们的销售和服务网络在中国的一些更广阔的市场啊。那当然最后一个就是确保我们第3个高优先级，就确保我们3个品牌9款核心产品如期上市。这个当然有很多投入正在进行的过程中啊，这些产品在不远的将来也会逐步跟大家见面。
But in the meantime, we will still make sure that we don't miss our focus or dilute our investment and resources for the high priority items for the coming 2 years. The first is the long-term investment for the core technologies so that we can still keep leading in terms of the products and the technologies. As I've mentioned earlier today, at the NIO Day 2023, we are going to unveil a brand new flagship model, and this car will be equipped with a lot of state-of-the-art technologies that are leading the entire automotive industry. And our second priority is the continuous development of our sales and service networks. Recently, we have enlarged the sales teams. We have also increased the number of the point of sales so that we can get ready for the more intense competition in the coming 2 years, because if we don't make such preparation, we will not be navigating the intense competition. An example is that in October in Shanghai, our sales volume has outnumbered that of BMW and Mercedes running on all power sources, including ICE cars as well as EVs. And in cities from Jiangsu or Zhejiang provinces, we are also establishing a pretty solid foothold with a pretty significant market share. But when it comes to lower tier cities like 4th tier or 5th tier cities, we still have a long way to go. Or in cities where the EV infrastructure is not yet ready, we are also not outperforming those well-established brands. In this case, we need to continue to develop our sales and service networks. In terms of our sales performance in Zhejiang, Jiangsu, and Shanghai, actually 50% of our sales volume is contributed by the sales in these 3 areas. On the one hand, it shows that our products are well recognized in the highly competitive markets in these 3 places. On the other hand, it also means that we need to further enhance our brand awareness in the lower tier cities. And the third priority in the coming 2 years is to secure the on-time release of our 9 core products from the 3 brands. We have already made investments, and the products of these 3 brands will be coming into the market very quickly in the coming 2 years.
Thank you, Nick.
好，谢谢，非常清楚。我这个问题也比较简单，就是行业非常竞争的环境下，比较多客户关心的问题就是我们在销量跟获利中间怎么取舍。刚在电话会刚开始有提到说，今年4季度的指引是4.7到4.9万台，那中间的目标中间的考量点是要维持这个比较好的价格。那我想说，在这个前提下，我们是不是一样维持4季度15%的这个整车毛利，包含说中长期，比如说明年有没有机会在整车毛利这部分还是一样维持这个之前公司提到的 long-term 的 target 20%或者22%左右的目标？我们怎么思考这个销量跟获利能力这个跷跷板的关系？ My second question is really about the balance or the choice between sales volume and margin, and how should we consider these 2 factors when it comes to the market competition? And are we still maintaining 50% of vehicle GP margin in 4Q and a long-term target of, let's say, 20 to 22% of vehicle GP margin sometime toward 24 or beyond? Thanks.
Yeah. 对，我们如果从我们这个3季度的一个策略的角度来讲，已经非常清晰，就是我们会保持价格的稳定， 3季度到现在，我们当然我们在6月份的时候做过一次用户权益的调整啊。那么这个调整的话呢，老用户也比较也能接受，新用户当然也很高兴啊。所以我们估计是全世界唯一的一个调整的价格，新用户和老用户都感到开心的一件事情，或者都觉得比较都不能说开心嘛，但是总的都觉得还挺好的一件事情。那在此之后，我们就保持了价格的一个稳定。那我们觉得这个对用户利益来说，对 brand 来说都是非常重要的。那么进入到4季度，我们当然看到了这个价格战进一步激烈啊。那我们看到了，即使在 premium 的这个市场，我们的竞争对手，比如说 Mercedes 和 BMW， 他们很多车型，特别是电动车型，都有甚至于30%以上的价格的下降啊。超过1/3的价格下降，那我们 still 还是保持价格的稳定，我觉得这一点来说是很重要的。那这也能够反映在我们毛利的提升上边。所以我们在 NIO brand 上面的一个策略，我们的一个思考就是保持价格稳定，持续提升毛利率。在这个基础上，我们再通过销售和服务体系效能的提升。和这个销售的过程的这样一些这种效率的改善，去提高我们的销量。我们会保持一些耐心啊，我们不会用降低毛利率去降价的方式去换取销量。我们认为从长期来讲这是不健康的。所以具体来说的话，Stanley 一会儿也可以讲一下这个毛利的一些展望的情况。
Our strategy for the third quarter is pretty clear. That is to keep our prices stable. Earlier this year in June, we have adjusted our user benefits. Actually, both our existing users and the new users were accepting this adjustment pretty well. So we may be the only company able to satisfy both existing users and the new users with a benefit adjustment. And since then, we have been keeping a pretty stable price strategy as we believe that it is beneficial to our brand image and also product competitiveness. And also users' experience and benefits. As going into Q4, the price wars deepens, the competition also gets more fierce. For many well-established brands, like our competitors, BMW and Mercedes, they're also slashing prices pretty aggressively. Even on their EV models, the price reduction can be as high as 31%. But we still keep a pretty stable price amid this fierce competition. This stable prices also are reflected in our improved vehicle margin. So our longer-term strategy will be keeping our price stable while continuously improving our vehicle margin. In the meantime, we will also improve our sales capacity, capability, and efficiency so that we can bolster our sales volume. But this can take time, and we will be staying patient. We will not realize or boost our sales volume at the cost of our product margin, as this is not healthy for the longer run. Maybe Stanley can also add more information regarding the specific financial numbers.
Hi, Nick. Our vehicle gross profit margin is 11 for Q3, and we are confident to achieve a higher margin in Q4, considering more market production efficiency, lower price of lithium carbonate, and also decreased part cost. Our target is still kept at 15% for Q4. And from long run, as an important project internally, we have started to further improve our cost structure for NT2 products by optimizing design, improving supply chain and production efficiency, and also business negotiation with our partners. As mentioned by William, our NIO brand keeps focus on premium market segment, and we will keep product prices relatively stable. So combine all those factors together, we believe our vehicle margin can be further increased to 15 to 18% in 2024. That's the general guidance for vehicle margin. Thank you.
Yeah， 当然从历史上来讲，我们在离涨价之前，我们最高是到过20多的21左右的。当然长期来讲，我们还是会在我们目标是超过25%，更长。
also looking at our previous vehicle margin history before the crisis of the lithium carbonate spike, we actually managed to realize a vehicle margin as good as 21%. So for a much longer term, we will also target as realizing a vehicle margin of above 20%.
Thank you.
好的，谢谢，非常清楚。
Our next question comes from Yu Qianding with HSBC. Please go ahead.
Thanks, team. This is Yu Qian here. I got two questions. Maybe we roll it one by one. The first one is on the cash position. We noticed the cash balance increasing quarter on quarter. Other than the strategic investment and the convertible bond, there is also still a 1 billion increase. Does that coming from the improving operation? Can you shed a little bit more light on that?
Hi, Yu Qian, this is Danny. And secondly, new product delivery ramp up in Q3. We achieved a positive operating cash flow. Going forward, if our sales can continue to grow, we are confident to realize the healthy operating cash flow. So that's for your first question. Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you. The second question is on the OPEX reduction. Thanks for William's sharing on optimizing the battery business. We also read there is also a headcount cut. Could you share more on whether there will be asset write-off during the process of the cost optimization, and then when we would expect us to reach a lean yet sustainable shape?
Yeah, hi, Yu Qian. About the cost optimization, we reduced 10% working positions and complete the adjustment in November. But for Q4, there will be almost no financial impact since we need to pay additional compensation for the employees who left the company, offset with less payroll cost. But for next year, together with the headcount reductions, we also delayed or canceled certain projects as mentioned by William. So the total impact to 2024 will be saving of total cost around 2 billion RMB.
Yeah， 这个就是从我们预算当然是有还好有一个 net， 但是本身一次性的这个裁员费用还是有几亿人民币的一个相关的一个费用支出。
Yeah, around 200 million.
Yes, this round of optimization has helped us to improve the financial performance slightly over our previous budget. However, we do need to have some one-time expenses due to the severance package for the terminated employees.
Oh, got it. That's clear. Thanks, William and Stanley. Yeah.
Our next question comes from Ming-Sun Lee with Bank of America. Please go ahead.
Hello, William and management. Thank you for taking my question. My first question is regarding your second brand, Alps, in 2024. In the future, will you consider to share the charging station and the battery stop station along with the NIO brand? And also, will you also consider to share the sales channel with NIO brand? Thank you.
谢谢 Min。 对，我们第二品牌的这个第一款车，那我们在近期已经完成了 VB 车的这个试制，状态应该说非常好，是我们历史上新车型 VB 状态最好的一款车，所以我们对这个车的竞争力是非常有信心的。当然我们还有足够的时间去持续的去这个优化和改进。那我们这个新的这个 brand 这个我们我们的换电网络将来会是有这个专用网络 NIO 的专用网络和这个有共享网络啊。那么明年开始我们就会建设这个共享网络。那么这个共享网络的话呢 ，NIO 的用户是能用的， 那么Alps 的用户也是能用的，也会开放给第三方。所以当然 charging 的话，这一直都是本来我们都是开放的，现在就已经是开放的。销售方面会是分开的，我们不会去共用门店，但是我们会一部分的服务网络，这个 service center 我们会共用啊，所以基本上这是我们的一个方向。
Yes, when it comes to our mass market brand, codenamed Alps, actually recently we have just had the very first validation build of this brand rolled off the production line. Actually, the condition of this verification build is pretty good. It can be maybe one of the best VV cars we have in the history of NIO. So we are very confident in the competitiveness of this product. And before the official launch and the delivery, we still have time to continue to optimize and improve the product. In terms of our power swap and the charging network strategy, for NIO, our battery swap network will be coming in two parts. The first is the exclusive network for NIO and the NIO users, and the second will be a shared network not only for NIO users but also for Alps users and other brands with swappable vehicles. In terms of the charging network, we've been sharing our chargers already to many non-NIO brands. In terms of the sales network, this will be separated, so they will have their own sales stores, but we will be sharing the service capacities and the facilities. So service centers will be shared between NIO and Alps.
Thank you, Min.
Thank you, William. Thank you. So my second question regarding your 2024 product, because this year you already update all of your new models and also launch some new models. So in 2024, will you have some facelift version of the existing model and start to use 800 voltage charging system on your car? So in this case, do you have any guidance about the battery swap station you will expect? Thank you.
Yeah. 对，当然这个汽车行业当然通行的会有一些小的改款，但是我们不会有这个大的这个改动啊，因为我们的车都是刚刚发布没多久，所以这个总的来说我们还是会保持这个质量和这个供应链的一个稳定，不会有大的改动，会有一些小的改动。那换电站本身来说的话呢，我们现在已经初步建立这个网络，接下来我刚才讲过了，我们会建设这个public 的这个 swap station 的 network 啊，这个共享网络，我们会开始建设这个共享网络。那另外一方面的话呢，我们也会根据 NIO 的这种用户的需求再去补充一些网络，我们还是会持续的去建设。当然具体的数量，这个我们还在进行最后的这个需求的这个预测，所以当然我们还会持续建设整个的网络，我们肯定会持续建设。
Yes, it's a common standard and the practices for the automotive industry to have model years or facelifts. But for our NT2 products, we will not have any major modifications or upgrades, as many of them were just newly launched or delivered to the market. To stabilize our quality and the supply chain, we will only make minor improvements and upgrades on our NT2 products. In terms of our plan for the power swap stations in 2024, as I've mentioned, we will be not only building our exclusive battery swap network, but also a battery swap network for sharing. On the one hand, we will build this power swap network for other brands, or that can be shared with other brands. In the meantime, we will also continuously looking at the demand of our new users, so that if there are any requirements or high demand stations or locations, we will also install stations there. But we are still working on the specific plans and the numbers.
Thank you.
谢谢 William.
Our next question comes from Paul Gong with UBS. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks. Thanks for taking my question. My first question is regarding your sales force, sales team. I think in last quarter's earnings, you mentioned that you are going to significantly increase your sales people's headcount. May I double check how is this has been proceeding at this moment? Have you achieved your original target of expanding sales team, or have you adjusted your original plan?
Thank you, Paul. 我们从目前来讲，我们UO 的 fellow， 也就是我们的销售的这个顾问，现在是已经超过5000多人啊，目前是5700人左右啊。但这里面呢，大部分的话呢，都是几个月内刚刚入职的，是超过绝大部分嘛，超过3000多人是这个近期刚刚入职的，所以他们要形成这个销售的能力的话，还需要一些时间，因为我们基本上我们前面1个半月入职的同事的前面1个半月，我们更多是用来做培训啊，他还不能够去这个不允许他去销售车，那么培训了1个半月以后，我们会开始让他来销售车辆。我们能看到，如果是超过6个月的成熟的这样一个销售人员的话，那么他的销能还是不错的啊，他的这个销售的能力还是不错的。所以我们在这方面我们还需要一点耐心，因为大部分的同事都是9月份、10月份才入职。那当然接下来的话呢，我们会建立一个更好的一个考核的机制啊，包括一个培训的机制，也会给到他们更高效的这样一些销售工具。我们相信接下来的话呢，他们会逐步发挥出这个能力。
At present, for our frontline fellows, we have a team of around 5,700 persons, but many of them were just newly on board. Around 3,300 of them were newly on board into the company, and it still takes some time for them to really get to know the brand and also get familiar with the entire sales processes. Because for the newly hired fellows, we will spend around 1.5 months on the trainings, and afterwards they can start to sell vehicles to our users. According to our history data, a seasoned fellow on average will need to spend around 6 months to be familiar with the brand and the processes, and will becoming a real sales force for the company. So we need to stay patient with these newly hired fellows, as many of them just joined the company in September and October. But in the meantime, we will also completing and improving our assessment and evaluation systems, our training systems. We will also bring these fellows more efficient tools so that they can really make full use of their sales capacity and capability.
Thanks. My second question is regarding the R&D spending. I think this quarter you had about 300 million quarter-over-quarter decline on the R&D, and the explanation is some incentives from the local government. May I quantify that number? And more importantly is, going forward, what would be your projected quarterly R&D spending?
Yeah, Stanley, yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, hi Paul. There are some slight decrease considering the some support we received from the local authorities. So, but on the long run, as we mentioned during the past also earnings call, our non-GAAP R&D investments per quarter will also be kept at RMB 3 to 3.5 billion. We, as mentioned by William in previous statement, we will ensure investment in core technologies and also the advantages of technology and product, and guarantee the timely launch of the new product. So the investment on R&D will not decrease. There will be a slight fluctuation across different quarters. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Our next question comes from Chen Jing with CICC. Please go ahead.
好的，感谢接受我的提问。我这边是2个问题。首先，第一个，关于自动驾驶这一边，我们从9月份开始已经开放这个通勤路线的这种心愿清单的一个提交，对，然后我们还是想通过这种群体智能的方式做这个城市 NOA 的功能的一个拓展，就是跟可能其他车企按照这个逐个城市去开放的思路会有所不同，能否再介绍一下我们在城市 NOA 功能的落地方面的一些想法？然后在目标方面的话，也是给出了像今年底这个累计城市的行驶里程可以达到这个6万公里开放，然后明年2Q 可能会达到40万公里，还是比较快的一个增长。想问一下目前的一个进展情况怎么样？So my first question is regarding to autonomous driving. We have already opened the submission of wish list in September. So relying on group intelligence, we try to extend the function NOA function in map cities, which is a little bit different from other OEMs. They open up city by city. So could you please introduce our ideas on the implementation of NOA function in city area, and also what's our given our target of the cumulative mileage of 60,000 kilometers by the end of this year. So how is our current progress?
谢谢常静。对，从 NIO 来说的话呢，我们的这个城区的这个 NOP，城区的 NOP Plus， 我们是基于通用的这个泛化能力，然后去按路线开通。我们已经建立了这样的一个基于群体智能、基于通用泛化能力、按路线开通的这么一个数据闭环的这样一个产线模式。那从目前来讲的话，应该说这个进展超过我们的预计，那么肯定是能够超过我们在 NIO Inc 上说的这个6万公里的这个里程数的。事实上，目前为止吧，我们应该说已经具备在100多个城市去进行这种对先锋用户开放测试的使用的这样的一个能力了。近期我们会非常逐步的去邀请用户进行这样一个试用。当然这个从城区的领航辅助的角度来讲呢，我们也看到了很多的这样的一些我们同行的一些 marketing 的这样的一些说法我们认为城区的这个领航辅助还是非常 serious 的一个服务我们会 step by step 的去在确保这个用户体验和安全的情况下会去落地。那我能说的是，目前的这个数据闭环的这个进展，按路线开通群体智能的这样一个进展是超过了我们的预计的而且后续的，因为我们现在已经有这个10几万辆车在街上跑，所以我们整个这个数据闭环的能力是非常强的，也是超过我们的竞争对手的。
In terms of NIO's NOP Plus for cities, actually we leverage our generalization capabilities as well as the crowdsourcing AI capabilities so that we can roll out this NOP route by route for our users based on their demand. Of course, in the meantime, we have also formulated the data closed loop capabilities where we can really leverage all this data coming from the generalization and also crowd AI. At the NIO Inc, we have announced that by end of this year, we are going to open up the routes covering around 60,000 kilometers of mileage. And so far, our progress is pretty good. And we already have established the capabilities of releasing NOP Plus for early bird users in more than 100 cities, and we will be rolling out such service and invite our users into the program step by step, and so that it can be covering more cities with more users gradually. Of course, in terms of city-based or road-based autonomous driving or NOP, we do see some of our peers. They have some marketing slogans regarding their services, but we believe that NOP Plus, especially NOP Plus for cities, is a pretty serious service, and we would like to make sure that our users have a safe and also good experience and then we will roll out the service and its coverage step by step. But overall speaking, our progress has far surpassed our expectations, and after all, we already have more than 100,000 vehicles running on the road. This will also help us to further formulate and improve our data closed loop.
我想强调的就是，我们现在我们所有 NT2的车，每一辆车都是标配了这个我们这个4颗 Orin 的这个芯片，再加上我们30多个传感器，所有的车都是一样的配置。所以我们现在把这个数据闭环体系建立了以后，那我们后续的迭代的能力是会非常快的这个其实也是我们独特的一个优势。和现在市场上的同行相比的话。
Especially for every new NT2 vehicle, it is standard with 4 Orin chips and also 33 high-performance sensors. This will further help us to formulate the data closed loop and improve the data capabilities. And in return, we will also accelerate the capabilities for iteration. This is also a very unique advantage of NIO, which is quite different from any other competitors offering the similar service.
好的，谢谢。然后我这边第二个问题，好的，第二个问题是关于这个海外市场，这点是否还会现在是我们这个战略重心之一然后能否请这个再简单介绍一下整个今年23年我们在海外市场的这个运营情况，包括我们可能目前的一个销量的规模，然后核心的区域以及渠道和这个基础设施建设的一个进展情况吧。然后另外就是我们明年的一个目标和规划。So my second question is regarding to overseas market. Will it still be one of our strategic focus? Could you please introduce the current operation situation of our overseas market this year? Regarding to our sales volume, our layout progress of our co-regions, and also about the dealerships and the infrastructures, and also our next year's target and plan.
Yeah. 目前我们在欧洲5个国家，我们一共开业了6家 NIO Houses， 8家未来空间，2家这个多功能的服务中心和54家授权服务中心。那当然我们还有30座左右的是数字你们看一下，30座。现在30座左右的换电站。那么我们在欧洲整个的业务来讲的话呢，我们目前应该说总的来说都还是在一个业务的早期吧，我们会更多的是要跑通我们整个的这个业务的模式我们要确保我们的服务的体验，用户的服务体验。那所以我们并没有把这个量放在这个第一位所以我们还是在一个早期阶段。我们认为接下来1年左右的时间，我们也还是属于这么一个状态我们要确保我们有了这个扩展的能力，才会加快我们网络的建设。所以总的来说，现在销量占我们的比例还是比较低的。
At the moment, in 5 European countries, we have opened 6 NIO houses, 8 NIO spaces, 2 multifunction service centers, and also partnered with 54 authorized service centers. We have also installed 30 power swap stations in 5 European countries. But in terms of our business development in Europe, we're still at the early stage of the business development and expansion. We want to continue to test the water, ensure we have good user experience before we scale our operations and the business there. That's why volume is not a priority for us in terms of our European business, and in the coming 1 year, we will continue to be staying at this stage. We will make sure that our capability and capacity are sufficient to serve our users in Europe before we start to work on a higher scale.
Thank you.
谢谢。我这边没有其他问题。谢谢。
Our next question comes from Jason Getz with Mizuho Securities USA. Please go ahead.
Hi guys, thanks for letting me ask a question. You talked a couple months back about 20,000 vehicles a month in December, and we're running a little bit below that now. what have been the biggest headwinds there? Has it been some production challenges, maybe broader macro weakness? And then what would it take to get to that 20,000 units, and how should we think about the run rate moving through 2024 with the new sales force?
OK 如果我们去看我们在高端的纯电的市场的份额，就是我们在比如说我们在30万以上的这个纯电的市场，我们的 market share 在今年的 Q3 是在45那我们其实一直都基本上保持在40以上。那意味着什么？意味着就是我们事实上来讲，在高端的纯电的市场的份额是一直非常稳定的，而且这个一直都是保持一个比较高的一个比例。那从另外一个角度来说的话呢，确实我们认为在高端的用户这一块，要把它转变成为这个从油车的用户转到电车的用户，一下子转到电车的话呢，确实这个难度呢是有的，可能在10几万的车、20多万的车转化起来要更容易一些，因为他们更多的还是会比较注重这个使用的成本。高端的用户他是考虑的事情更多一些。那这是我们在对于这个我们是要有一些耐心。另外一方面的话，我前面也提到了基础设施的问题，就是如果我们就看我们在3个上海、江苏、浙江、长三角，我们的销量其实已经在很多城市都已经超过了同样价位的宝马、奔驰、奥迪的这个燃油车我们的销量。但是我们也看到我们在这些区域我们有，比如说我们在3个省市我们有700多座换电站，所以呢基础设施对销量的促进还是非常有作用的。那当然在全国来讲的话呢，我们现在2000多个换电站，有将近700座是在高速上，在很多区域的覆盖其实还是不太够的，所以基础设施对于更广阔的这些市场的用户来说也是一个限制因素。所以这2点的话呢，我觉得是目前2个主要的难点嘛，一个是高端用户的这个购买的心理另外一个就是这个基础设施在更广阔的区域的这个基础设施。那24年我们相信这个 trend 的话，高端市场我们相信这个转换会提速其实在过去2年里面更多是在 massive market， 24年我们相信高端市场往纯电转的这个趋势会提速。那么我们也看到我们的一些同行他们也推出来了，原来他们只做增程的产品，现在也开始推出纯电的产品，那这都会加速这个传统的油车用户往纯电转的这个过程，因为别的动力形式毕竟都是一个过渡性的。那这个其实对我们来说我们是很乐于看的一点。另外一点当然就是基础设施的建设，也越来越多人开始建设超充桩当然我们也会进一步建设换电站，那我觉得这些也会推动纯电用户的渗透率。所以总的来说我认为24年比23年应该对我们来说应该会更加好一些，而且我们24年也不需要去应对产品的频繁的切换，这个也会打扰一些我们自己的一些销售的节奏。
Thank you for your questions. As we've mentioned earlier today, in the premium battery electric vehicle segment priced over RMB 300,000, NIO has realized a 45% market share in the third quarter of this year. Actually, our market share in this segment has been pretty stable, around 40%. So this has proven that we have a relatively solid foothold in the premium BEV segment. We have a pretty significant, also stable market share already established in the segment. But when it comes to convincing users of premium ICE cars of buying a premium EV, it is actually more difficult than convincing a mass market users. Because for the mass market users buying a car of 100,000 or 200,000 RMBs, they pay attention to the ownership cost and also the usage cost of the product. But for the users of premium electric vehicles, they pay more attention to other factors. And the second reason that may be affecting the wider adoption of a premium BEV is regarding the coverage of infrastructure. As I've also shared in the Yangtze River Delta areas, mainly Shanghai, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang, we have a pretty significant market share. Our sales volume has outnumbered that of BMW, Audi, and Mercedes with their ICE car sales. A very important reason behind is because we have 700 power swap stations already established in this area. So infrastructure is also playing a very important role in boosting the sales volume and the adoption of electric vehicles. So far in China, we have already installed over 2,000 power swap stations, but roughly 700 of them are along the highways. In some regions and areas, our power swap stations are still not widely accessible. In this case, we will need to also speed up and enhance our infrastructure coverage so that we can further boost the wider adoption of electric vehicles. So basically, two main reasons. The first is regarding the consumption habits of the premium vehicle users, and the second is mainly because of the coverage of the infrastructures for electric vehicles. And but we believe that this trend, convincing ICE users of buying EVs, or this overall trend of transforming into battery electric vehicles, will be picking up its speed, because we also find that some of our peers and competitors, before they only have hybrid vehicles or range extended vehicles, but now they're also launching their battery electric vehicles. Such strategy will also push the transformation of the entire industry. So we are actually happy to see such transformation. And also many car companies are now also installing and expanding their charging network, and NIO is working on our battery swap network. With wider infrastructure, we will also boost the adoption of the battery electric vehicles. So overall speaking, we believe that 2024 will be better off than in 2023, because in 2024 we will also be having a more stable product portfolio without frequent product launch and delivery, which has also slightly disturbed our overall execution.
Got it. Thanks. And then quick follow-up. On the battery swap partnership side, is there any kind of design changes that your partners would have to do to their vehicles in order for them to use the swap stations? And if so, have you guys talked about what percent of mix of vehicles they produce might need to be kind of changed or edited in the production process in order to do battery swapping?
对，我们是开放我们的这个 massive market brand 的这个所用的这个 battery pack as a standard battery pack， 给到这个别的合作给到别的汽车公司，他们会基于我们的这个电子包去开发他们的车型，他们需要对底盘、需要对车辆进行一些改造。所以这是需要一些时间的，所以我们这个合作开始以后，他们会选择一些车型去来适配这个电池包。那这个当然总的来说开发费用也还 OK 啊，不是特别的高啊，当然需要一定的周期。
Actually, we have shared the battery specs and also the design details of our battery packs for the mass market brand to our battery swap partners, and they will need to design and engineer their vehicle products, mainly chassis interfaces, following our battery standards. It will take some time for them to decide on the right models and complete the product R&D. But the overall investment and R&D expenses for developing such new models based on our battery standards won't be very high.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
As there are no further questions, now I'd like to turn the call back over to the company for closing remarks.
Thank you again for joining us today. If you have further questions, please feel free to contact NIO's investor relations team through the contact information provided on our website. This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect your line. Thank you.
Thank you.